In preparation for the video, reviewed one of my mission journals, and I was really struck by this one story. And I remember this lady. Her name was Sadie, and Sadie was probably 23, 24, had a little baby, and was also pregnant as well. So she was pregnant with her second, and we just tracked it into Sadie. And anyway, we were teaching her, taught her a few lessons. I think we often we were just teaching her at the doorstep because we were able to do that. If we couldn't go in, it was another adult man, we just teach them on the doorstep. And but my companion and I, Elder Sessions, we had that transfer an idea to some inspiration to get these study journals for our investigators. And Walmart had a sale for 5 cents for these little spiral notebooks. So actually, I think they might have been bigger spiral notebooks. So we just stocked up. We just got a dozen spiral notebooks, whatever. And we would give them to investigators, and we would write down questions from our lesson and say, we want you to study these questions and look for answers as you do that. And the pamphlets do that. Like the pamphlets that missionaries have questions, I think, in them. But so that was just a really neat thing, and I think it's always, as a missionary, if you have inspiration, you should follow these types of ideas. But what was so cool when I was looking at my journal, because this was real time. I was writing as we were teaching Sadie, and I'm seeing these entries. We would come over, and first we were just really excited because Sadie was actually studying the questions. So she would write an answer, because we'd tell her, write an answer to it, to what she'd study. And I got to say too, this lady, she was not an intellectual person. Did not, as I recall, did not have much of an education. I think she may have finished high school. I can't remember for sure, if she had, but did not have a lot of education. It did not appear. Definitely no college. And but anyway, it was just like we came back, and she was like, "Oh yeah, well I actually made my own questions too." And we were just like, "You what?" What do you mean? And she showed us a journal, and she had answered our questions. Read this chapter of 3rd Nephi and think about this, or read this pamphlet and think about what does it mean to have a savior? Why is that important? And then she'd write her answer. And then she had these other questions. We're like, well, where did you come up with these other questions? She's like, I don't know. It's just what kind of come to my mind. So it's, reading. And so she would not only answer her questions, but write her own questions and then go find answers to her own questions. And again, I wish I could have she's just not the kind of, I don't know how to say it. She was not a really intellectual type of person to where we were just so amazed by that. I don't know if she reads at all. She was literate, but I don't know that she's a reader. Like I said, just not the type of person where you would expect she would be doing that. And we were just so impacted by that this, just sweet, lady would make that effort and follow the Spirit, where maybe her intellectual capability wasn't maybe as strong as many others we taught, but her ability to learn from the Spirit was strong, if not stronger. And then the last thing about Sadie was I saw that one time she had to go to the hospital because she was in severe pain, and so I think she missed our appointment. And we came back later, and she had taken her notebook to the hospital with her, so that while she was sitting there connected to the machine, she was sitting there reading her pamphlet and doing her study on a hospital bed. And it's just like, anyway, it was amazing. She was somebody, my last transfer, that we were teaching, and so unfortunately my companion was actually transferred shortly thereafter, so I actually never found the end of the story with Sadie. But it was it was just so neat. I was just really touched by that.